Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with Sixtyandme. Thank you so much for being here today. I've got a video today that I want to share that I think is such an important one, and that is this idea that we have to sometimes in our lives let go of things that we treasure, things that are important to us. It could be the loss of a relationship. It could be having to let someone go in your life that you really wanted to stay. It could just be making a change that requires a shift in your mindset, that's something that you have had close to you or that you treasure and really care for, you've got to let it go. And a lot of women in our 60andme community have found over the last few years that downsizing has become a very big priority. When I say downsizing, I mean letting go of the things that you've been storing and keeping and holding on to for years and years and years, that contain memories, that contain associations that are just so hard to say goodbye to. But there comes a time when you have to demonstrate your courage and your strength, and you have to make a choice. Choices are hard, and we're constantly having to make them in our lives, and they've led us to where we are today. But making a choice to let something go is really, really hard. In fact, in Buddhism, as a one religion that really does understand this and says, the Buddha said that the reason that we suffer in life, the reason that we have sadness is because we are attached to things. And that we're attached to things that by their nature have to change. And that for me has been a powerful mantra all of my life, and I really found it very useful. Now, one of our bloggers, Kim Halsey, wrote an article that I suggest you take a read of it, because it's very, very well put together and researched and comes at it from like a little different perspective than I have myself. But she talks about a book called The 5 Things We Cannot Change. It's by an author called David Richo. And I think that when you look at the things that we cannot change, those are in many times the things that we have to let go. And so I want to talk about those 5 things that we can't change, and then maybe talk a little bit about how we can approach surrender, how we can approach surrender to things that have to be different, that are no longer what you wanted them to be. It's super important. So the 5 things are: everything changes and ends. That's the law of entropy. That is the Buddhist truth. Everything changes and ends at some level. Things do not always go to plan. That's a good one. How many times in your life have you said, yes, that wasn't what I expected. That's not exactly how I thought this was going to turn out. You've got to let it go. You've got to accept it. It wasn't what you expected. It's okay. Life is not always fair. Gosh, this is a hard one, because you really feel like you've done everything right. You've been a good person. There's no reason you should be, in quotes, punished, but by this thing having to go leave you. But it's not like that at all. It's just that life is not fair sometimes. And pain is the 4th thing, is that pain is sometimes a part of life. And I know we dwell on this a little bit in 60andme. We talk about ways that we have to get beyond things that make us sad, make us feel held back or out of control. But we have to sometimes just say, pain is actually part of life. We learn from it. We get strong. Like when you walk without shoes on and you get a callus on your foot. Yeah, the feet hurt for a little while, but then you've got a callus, you've got a muscle, you've got something that's going to help you get through these tough times. And trust me, there's going to be lots of them. But you have to just trust the people that will be with you. So people are, and this is the final one, this is the hardest one. People are not loving and loyal all the time. Okay, so that's a disappointment, isn't it? Because you think that these people that we invest our time in and our love in are going to love us forever, and they're going to be by our side forever, and loving and kind and understanding. It's not like that. And that's the 5th thing. I think it's a really good list of 5 inevitables that he talks about and in his book. And maybe there's some ones that you can relate to, because I certainly can. And and I think it's once you start realizing that you haven't been kind to people sometimes in your life. You've done things that have maybe hurt their feelings, or done things that have made them sad or feel, lost. And you just have to say in your heart, I'm sorry, and know that you didn't mean it, or you just were always looking for the best in your life. But it's different for every person. Those 5 things are different in different measure and different occurrences in your life, and you just got to kind of deal with them as they come. And I think that's a powerful opportunity. Now, and in this article by Kim, she talks about how to approach surrender. Now, for all of you women out there who have been through a divorce, Maybe in some cases it was a welcome thing. Maybe in some cases it was something that you wanted to do and it was, your decision and it moved forward. Maybe you hurt someone else, but it was the right thing for you. But most women, I would say, in our community who have gone through a divorce, it's been a sad situation, in the sense that it has made someone else feel bad and it's made you feel bad. Whatever happened, whatever the reasons, maybe those 5 inevitables were probably involved in some of them. And maybe it just simply was that you ran out of time with each other, you ran out of interest, you changed. That's another, back to the issue of changing. So I think that, for most people, divorce was a hard one. So surrender for Kim, and I think she's very wise to observe this. And it's the same with other things too, is you have to reach rock bottom. You have to go to the darkest places, to the deepest places, and you have to stay there for a bit. And you have to cry. And you have to heal. And you have to accept yourself. And you have to embrace yourself and love who you are. Once you've reached that bottom place, you then only have one direction, or you can go sideways, I guess, or up. Move beyond the sorrow and finish the unfinished business. If there's words you have to say, write them down. You may not want to send a letter. You may not ever send a letter. I've got some that I've never sent, and they're in my world, and they helped me. They helped me to say the things that I was thinking and helped me to move forward from rock bottom. Facing change and facing loss are huge. And I think that there's probably no one in this group that hasn't had some experience of that. Resentment is another thing that you've got to get over, because after you deny something and you try to build a case around it, a world around it that is not real, you resent the fact that you haven't got it. That we were talking about earlier, the dream world. What does marriage look like to you? What does motherhood look like to you? And you've got all these wonderful things that they have to fit into this box. And then suddenly you find yourself, it's nothing like that. Maybe you've got a situation where your children are not close to you, or where you feel that you have unfinished business with a partner. All these things. And anger, as according to Kim, and I think this is true, anger is a phase that you sometimes have to go through. I remember once, this is a long time ago, I put together a website called X in the City. And it was after I got divorced. And I did this X in the City about, being an X and what you had to go through. And it was the stages of X. So it was, explore, exhale, and anger was explode, I think was one of them. But it was like anger is actually part of the process. Regrouping, you've got to regroup. And you've got to say, okay, how is my life going to be different? What do I have to do? What do I have to move? Do I have to, position myself in a different way, change jobs? But I think the most important thing is to not worry about other people. Whatever you've gone through in terms of your resentment and your fear and your anger, you've got to now move forward for yourself, and you've got to stop feeling powerless. You got to move forward. Go ahead and read this article by Kim, because it's really wonderful. She talks about the next thing being repair, where you've got to repair those broken pieces. We're all broken, we're all flawed, and it's never going to be any different in this universe. This is how it is. But we can, regain ourselves, regain our strength, and repair the broken pieces. And it reminds me of wabi-sabi, which is a Japanese Zen Buddhist strategy or philosophy, where you take the broken pieces and you put them together with gold. And I think that to me is, if you have to let someone go, or you have to deal with the loss of something or someone, take the broken pieces in your heart and piece them together with gold. Because the gold is all the memories and all the wonderful things that you did together and all the beautiful things to come. And that's the thing to remember. And I think with that comes the final one, which is release. You can't go back. You have to go forward. Whatever's happened, whatever the situation is, that you have had to embrace this change and this loss or this, new world, it's going to be okay, because you're going to release that pain and move forward. Don't settle for less. Don't settle for any less than you need. You go through those phases of regrouping and repairing and healing, and then go forward with joy, because that's what you can learn from those losses and those mistakes, and you can move forward. I do hope this has been a useful conversation. It's been, a life's journey for me to actually deal with these types of situations, and I'm reaching out to some of you too, because I know you're going through them too, and I'm here for you. I'm always here for you. And 60andme is a company and a group that cares about women going through these phases. We love you. I love you so much. Take good care, everybody. Stay safe and well, and know that I'm with you always in your heart, in your mind. And I look forward to hearing your comments below. Take care.